All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I wanted to do a lesson on this title centered around a thought that I was pondering upon. Not so much pondering, but more so just marinating my thoughts around it, which was how right now, in this phase of the ministry, we show forth our diligence through the works that we do to serve the Lord, right? Which goes into the lessons that we do, the diligence in going out there and street, teaching, and also things that extend past um, the things that we do on camera. But a good portion, is on camera because that's one of the main avenues as to how the sheep that are the ones to be fed end up getting the food, right? They that we push it or feed them through the internet. But soon that's gonna go away, right? Soon, we know soon enough, pursuant to Amos 8 and 11, right, which I'll just quote it, um, in Amos 8 and 11, where the Lord mentions that He's gonna bring a famine, not a famine of bread, nor of a thirst for water, but a famine of hearing the words of the Lord. And what that means is the Lord is going to bring a famine of the word. And so the main avenues and the way in which we're able to provide the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures that'll teach you, edify you, and build up your faith is gonna cease, right? The Lord is gonna put an end to that. It doesn't mean that we are gonna lose that knowledge. It just means that it's not gonna be easily accessible to everybody else. And when that happens, and this phase or this part of the ministry ceases, right, and we enter the next phase. Remember that all hell. I mean, Yahushua doesn't come back right at the beginning of the famine of the word. There's still other things that the world has to go through before the Lord comes back. So that means that the way we show our diligence to the Lord now is going to change in some respect soon enough once the famine of the word comes, because now you're no longer doing videos or going out to the highways and byways and speaking, but you still have to show your diligence and your willingness to serve the Lord in some way, shape, or form. And that's going to come by your faith, okay? And that's where I had the thought of showing diligence through faith, right? The faith that we have in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to be how we show our diligence, meaning when the hour of temptation comes, not taking the mark of the beast, right? And when you're tempted, even past that, because that's not going to be the only form of temptation that we have to maintain our faith and our integrity um, with, right? There are going to be times when maybe you might get approached by actual agents. Because we speak about that, but it's a different thing to actually get approached, right, by agents who are trying to have you sell out a brother or brothers, or have you do something that goes against the ministry and goes against serving Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai in sincerity and faith and in truth, right, in spirit and in truth. That could be another temptation, because for some they might come to you with enticing you to try and give you money or materialistic things of this world to get you to sell out. For others, they might try to blackmail you, right? They might try to come with things that they think or believe are compromising, that can get you to be compromised. But you need to show your diligence to the Lord in that time through your faith. And there are other cases where it might not be either of those two. It might just be enduring the hardships that come with Jacob's trouble, right? The suffering of maybe going a couple of days without food and water, and just kind of imagine the Israel in the wilderness and the things that Moses and Aaron and some of the leadership had to go through dealing with the Israelites. Now, they didn't have to, like Moses and Aaron didn't have to go out every Saturday and teach the scriptures, but the burden they had to bear of the people of the Lord was a heavy one. But in bearing that, that's how they showed their diligence to the Lord through faith. See, so the time is coming when it's not going to be you believe, I believe, therefore I have spoken, but it's going to be a lot more, I believe, therefore I have taken this action, or I have refused to take this action. So your faith is going to become a lot more physical. That's the point that I'm getting at, where the gears are going to shift, and the Lord is going to require a lot more physical actions that are going to show forth your faith. Because yeah, right now doing lessons is physical, right? As much as it is verbal and spiritual, it is still physical. You make the time, you turn on your camera, your phone, and you do the lesson. You go out to the highways and byways. You have to travel, right? You have to get to the location. All of these things is still physical. However, the times when your life is on the line and you have to maintain your integrity, your loved ones are turning on you, or you're on the run, or you're just in a very uncomfortable situation that you're not usually in or you're not used to, that is a different level of physical, right? That is a level that a lot of people get to, and they're very quick to fold, they're very quick to crumble. But what do the scriptures say? The scriptures say we got to endure hardness as a good soldier for Yahushua. See? So, and that also weeds out individuals that don't have true faith, because anybody can get up and turn on the camera and use the name of the Lord and say that they're coming in the name of the Lord or the Spirit of the Lord, and they're not, right? They're a false prophet. And that's why we see so many cases of that, because anybody can throw on a garment and go out and start teaching, or call themselves teaching, and say that they are men of the Lord. But not anybody can risk their life to serve the Lord. Not anybody can resist onto blood or onto death to serve the Lord. Not anybody can say, okay, if I have to be a martyr for Yahweh's sake, then so be it. I'm not going to take this MOTB, or I'm not going to denounce the Lord, or I'm not going to forsake this truth. See, not anybody can do that. It takes an actual spirit, a heavy spirit, to do something like that. And that's one of the reasons why in 2nd Ezra 16, the scriptures say that then shall they be known who are my chosen, right? 16 and 70th verse on down. Then shall they be known who are my chosen. Because the Lord is going to let it be known in many ways. Even if your role is not say to live till Yahweh comes back, and your lot is to be martyred, even in your martyrdom, it'll be known, right, who that you are part of the Lord's chosen, because of how you handle that. There are men of old that died, right, in integrity, and they died in faith. Stephen, for example. People don't look at Stephen and wonder, man, I wonder if Stephen was a firm believer because of the way he died. No, in fact, the way he died confirmed that. You see? So even in death, even in martyrdom, it will be known who are the Lord's chosen, because of the spirit that he's going to give to his chosen to not only endure, but to stay faithful in the face of adversity, in the face of death, in the face of pain and suffering. And so that's something that we all have to keep in mind, that the way that we show our faith and our diligence to the Lord now, it won't always be like that. And the things that we have to do that may be different, say as prophets and as teachers, right now, right? So right now we usually put out the content, and you have the sheep that consumes and learn, and that affects the way they live their lives and things of that sort. But when the hour of temptation comes, whether prophet or shepherd or sheep or believer, we're all going through the same thing. Okay, that test is gonna come upon all of us. All right, whether you are a teacher who does lessons, or you're a believer who listens and consumes the lessons, guess what? If you get approached by an agent, it's the same thing. And what I mean by that is it's still the same trial. Right? It's still the same trial, it's still the same temptation. So that's something important to keep in mind, which is that don't think that, right now, I just got to make sure I'm just like, constantly watching and learning. Yes, you do. That's good. But make sure you're praying and building up your faith, because that's what ultimately that's gonna be your currency in that time, to be able to pass those tests. It's gonna be how strongly do you believe in what you say you believe in, because there's gonna be those who actually believe the things that they're saying. They're gonna be the ones who can actually do the things that they're saying. If you're saying something and you don't actually believe it, when it comes time to do it, you won't be able to actually do it because you didn't believe it. And the Lord rewards faith. All throughout the scriptures, we see that time and time and time again. The Lord rewards faith. The Lord rewards those that are faithful, those that actually believe the things that they teach. They believe that the Lord is of a full power. They believe that He is. Therefore, when He goes to them, or when they go to Him with a request, or with a inquiry, the Lord grants that to them. And He grants that to them because they believe that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. So you got to be willing to diligently seek Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and in doing so, He is going to reward that. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that the way we show diligence now is going to change. It's going to change when the Lord turns this thing up. I mean, we going to need to turn up. It's going to be more than just uploading videos, and showing up for camp and doing your 3 or 5 or how many lessons you do. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be, look, now you faced with reality. What are you going to do? And at that point, you're gonna hope that you had taken advantage of the times now to build up your faith. Because if your faith is not built up, you're not strong in the truth. You're not strong in the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. The Lord doesn't have mercy on you. It's going to be a next to an impossible to overcome these challenges and these adversities. So keep that in mind as we enter into the time of this destruction. The scriptures do say that through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's going to be possible. It is going to be more manageable for those that have the faith that they can get through it. Okay. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was exhorting and edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakha Kodesh. Until next time, Shalom.